Hello, everybody at home. Welcome to the Monkey Barrel Comedy Chat Show. This is our show where visiting comedians doing their solo shows here, we sit down, interview them, ask them the important questions and mostly the silliest questions. And our guest for this week is the wonderful Garrett Millerick.
Hello, George. Hello, the internet.
I like that. It's good energy.
Yeah.
We keep thinking about adding in applause at the start, but it's just not the vibe.
No. I wouldn't have agreed to it if that was.
Yeah, like this is disgusting. I'll leave right
It's
now.
Saturday lunchtime. I've just come from brunch. I'm quite full of sausages.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's perfect. All right. Good food. Good brunch.
It was all right. Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Yeah. It was because we're in Scotland. I don't know if the internet are aware of that, but we're in. Well, no, you're not Scottish.
I'm not Scottish, but yes, we are.
Neither am I. But we are coming to you live from Scotland.
Yeah.
Which is a place in Britain.
Recorded live, just in case people are watching this on YouTube and start trying to write comments for us to react to. This is recorded, just so they know.
Oh, we're not streaming this.
We're not streaming this. No. This is recorded now.
It's cheating, isn't it?
It is. We can't have a live wire like you have a hot mic.
No. Well, they're going to edit this to make us look wittier than we are. Which I guess is
We're going to edit out the sausage line immediately. We're hard. It has to be square sausage or nothing else.
There was tatty scones and a haggis.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Are you a fan of haggis?
I do like haggis.
I do like it. People talk about, it's this and that. I was like, yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah,
Every meat is bad when you think about what it is.
You shouldn't think about what you're eating. You can never eat anything good. You have some questions.
Yes, we have many questions. Well, first of all, I mean, for people who are seeing you here for the first time, I mean, we could say things like you've done numerous tour shows, you've toured around the world. You've been on Conan. How was that?
I have. It was good. It was a good fun thing in America. I got to do it just before the world collapsed in 2020.
Oh, that's so mad.
So it was like the last thing I did before getting locked up for 2 years. So it was quite a nice last thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. It's also annoying. We've spoken a lot with comedians about how, their careers were on their trajectory and then lockdown happened and it was just like, well, there's the momentum gone and then having to restart back up again.
Well, this is why I agreed to do this.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have got me in... You wouldn't have got me in 2020. Early 2020, I would not have responded to your email.
Yeah, Conan is here. We're down here.
But then everyone got locked up inside for a couple of years. Things didn't happen. They were like, "Do you want to talk to George after brunch?" And I was like, "Why not?"
Well, it was the sausages that clinched it. Look, all you can eat sausages, and you ate all you could. Yeah. So one of the things that we've found out from comedians when we chat to them is that the pandemic for them was like a moment to kind of reflect on what they were doing and kind of change what they'd done.
Is that what people did?
That's what people have said.
Yeah, I didn't do that. I just
drank a lot. Liars. I didn't do that either.
No, it was a time for drinking Stella Artois at lunchtime and getting into online poker. Yeah. It didn't change my act at all.
Yeah, that's great. I'm glad to hear that. I was the same, which was like pause and then the pandemic ended and play. I didn't
do any reflection during the pandemic. I did some after the pandemic, but not during the pandemic. I watched all of The Sopranos in 6 days, which made me feel sick. Because that is a program that is designed to be watched over an 8-year period.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's very intense.
Not 6 days.
Yeah.
But I got an email.
Did you become obsessed with Gabagool for a while?
No. I just felt bad. I just felt they're bad people. So I had that. I was watching that on the television. I was watching that on an iPad, and then I was playing the 1980s Nintendo Entertainment System classic Dr. Mario.
Nice.
Whilst The Sopranos was going on. So 2 screens, Sopranos, Dr. Mario, 6 days, nothing else, Stella Artois. And I felt sick afterwards, like bad, like in my soul. Yeah. I think it's what young people call poor mental health. Like the millennials, I had anxiety. I did have anxiety because that's not a good way to spend time.
No. Which did you finish first, Dr. Mario or The Sopranos?
There's no finishing Dr. Mario.
I don't think.
You just carry on going and on and on and on and on. It's good as well because if you complete it, Dr. Mario, because it's a classic game and it was made at a time when I was a child, when we didn't need constant validation. So when you complete it, you get an 8-bit screen of a bunny rabbit sitting on a wall, and that's your lot. And then you start again.
I'm sorry, Ian, you're going to have to put that picture, you're going to have to edit it in. There it is.
That's all you get, and that's right, that's correct.
Yeah.
It's like Tetris. If you complete Tetris, all the Tetris blocks make a rocket, and it just lifts off, and that's it. There's no cut scene or...
I really liked that at a certain point with video games, they would just... this machine's making noise. I'm just going to ignore this machine, everybody. Because it makes noise. But I did like it. There was a point with video games where...
Why is your laptop protesting? What have you been doing? You've got a text document with like 3 questions you've gleaned off your Instagram account.
I stole this from a 17-year-old, all right?
It looks like it. Is that who put all the stickers all over it?
Look, we have a lot of stickers in our house.
But why?
I just wanted it to look... I wanted it so that if someone stole it, I could find it very quickly.
Okay. Well, back up. That wasn't why I said why. Why have you got lots of stickers in your house?
Oh, my partner's like
because I
teacher,
do too, but I've got a 3-year-old.
Yeah, my partner's teacher. There's always stickers that like you put.
It wasn't weird.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. My partner's a teacher, so she always has like stationery coming in for like giving kids in the class.
Yeah, because this is what I'm talking about. Validation.
Yes,
they want every time they do something and they need a sticker. What are we going? 6 days heavy violence and putting little pills together to make lines. You get a rabbit.
Yeah. Whereas I remember there was a whole point as a kid with video games where you would finish it and it wouldn't do anything. It would just go right back to the start screen, like Groundhog Day. Like, yeah,
you'd have to rewind the cassette, reload it.
Do you remember that? Did you used to always rewind tapes before you return them?
Yeah, because I'm not a sociopath.
Yeah, of course you have to.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it when you would get a tape and it wasn't rewound. It's like, what?
To this day, that's so drummed into me. I get pissed off when I go to Netflix and it picks up where you left off.
Oh, livid!
You're just like, no, it should be back at the beginning. So who didn't rewind the tape?
You have to restart
because Netflix is for sociopaths.
Yeah, that is true.
We're saying there. Yeah, sue me.
Weirdly, something's just popped in my head because, like, we're a similar age. A thing that we would have experienced that Ewan, who's a baby, wouldn't have experienced is that.
Ewan, we were discussing earlier. Ewan was 1 year old when 9/11 happened.
Yeah. And
your birthday is 9/11.
My birthday is 9/11.
We only turned the cameras on after we'd had the podcast that you'll never get to see, the Lost podcast, with the quite broad-ranging chat we just finished about 9/11. Which
wasn't problematic at all. It was not. It definitely wasn't naughty. I can say that.
Better than the sticker chat.
I feel seen.
You should have some 9/11 stickers.
Get me some more of these quirky comedians in here who love this, please. Get Josh Glantz in here. Josh loved these. All right.
Oh, he's a clown, though, isn't he?
Yes, exactly. This is here.
That's what you're going to get. I've got no time for it, and that's sort of my shtick.
But did you ever have an experience where, like, watching VHS movies where, like, somebody would have recorded over a thing, like they wanted to experience this? Because I had a friend who
there's a whole 4 minutes of. I say this isn't someone else doing it, but there was a whole 4 minutes of the James Bond film View to a Kill, the excellent last one that Roger Moore did with Grace Jones and Christopher Walken.
Yes,
hell of a film. When they get into the mine explosion in that, my VHS copy for years had the little lines that go up and
down.
And then there's a 4 minute 4 minute section of content about how to make your own finger mouse. And I
literally know exactly the show that's from as well.
Can we get finger mouse up on? You can edit that.
I'll put it in.
Yeah, finger mouse is just like a tube of cardboard.
2 fingers.
Yeah, 2 fingers, and it'd be like a mouse.
Yeah,
and that was a television program.
I remember that. Yeah,
yeah, and they had one day that teach you how to make your own finger mouse at home, so you didn't have to have the telly on. When your mum would say, "Turn the telly off," you'd have your own finger mouse, make your own finger mouse stories.
And you turn a fairy liquid bottle into a spaceship.
All of that sort of jazz. Yeah. It was better times.
I remember. I
told you everything changed after 9/11. Before 9/11,
it was all finger mice, bottle rockets.
Yeah, it was great. No, bottle rockets a different thing. Bottle rockets a small firework.
That is true.
But a washing up bottle made out of a rocket made out of a
washing up bottle. Yeah,
that's just purposed litter. That's how we used to recycle.
Well, I have a friend who had the movie Planes, Trains and Automobiles on VHS, and that's the only way he'd ever seen it.
Yeah.
But there was a thing where sometimes movies would be longer than the tape. And so it gets to the bit at the end where Steve Martin is on the train coming back and he has the realization, and that's where the movie ended for him.
Good.
The movie ended for him with, they just go on this trip and then they leave. He never knew that John Candy's, spoilers for a very old movie, but like John Candy's wife had passed away and that he had nothing to do. He was just like, that movie's great. They just hang out and it just ends when he goes back in the train.
Yeah, and the fat guy's just a prick for no reason.
Yeah, people are awful. Yeah. Sometimes you just meet assholes.
Often fat people are pricks for no reason at all. Again, that's very much my stick.
So something that we have like a little Instagram, social media time travel. We're going to go into one of your old posts and you're going to have to explain it. So this is the one we've picked.
Oh, yeah.
So for people at home who are listening, this is a picture of a petrol station with 8 geese walking across.
It was a lot more geese than that.
Really?
Yeah, I think this is one of those posts. This was actually on the way to the Glasgow Comedy Festival, in 2019. I was filling up my car at a petrol station. I wasn't just there for kicks. But the geese were. So these geese there were loads of them, and they just decided, filling up the car, and they just walked across the petrol station. This is at someone might know where this is. It's on the way to Glasgow from London. One of the service stations.
One of the big ones, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was probably used to be a field that these geese walked through.
Yeah,
and then they put up this
and they're just not having
petrol station. They're like, yeah, we'll still walk through.
But they weren't afraid of the cars or the people or anything, and they just marched across. I'm glad you managed to find a post on Instagram that wasn't me just posting you probably had to dig through a lot of just reviews and boasting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Because that's all. Yeah. Well, that's all it is. I don't really like it. So I'm sort of, whenever I do a show, I'm forced to use it. Yeah. And you get emails from publicity people or your agents going, can you share that? Yeah. So I make crap graphics with the thing, like under duress. I sort of make them bad because I'm being forced to make them, and I have no skills.
I get it.
It's a petty protest.
That's your stickers, all right? Your stickers are those.
No,
the embarrassing things you have to put up.
No. You didn't have to put those on there. It would be like the stickers if all the stickers said George is great.
Oh my God!
But we're similarly garish. Maybe I'll get you one of those George is great stickers.
Please do.
Yeah. So this is a load of geese in a petrol station, and I like their vibe.
Yeah, it's a good vibe as well. Like the confidence.
This was definitely over the border because you'd never get that in England.
No,
because English geese are like English people. I'm terribly sorry, but these were good Scottish geese going, get out of my fucking way. See you, pal. That's my fucking petrol station. And it's going through, so that's what that was about.
Please don't pretend that English people are polite. That is that feels like it's a psyop against the world. That like
English people are very polite. But
I do not. Well, maybe I'm just thinking about London.
You're Irish. Like,
welcome to History Nightmares with Garrett and George.
No, I know you're like, my whole family are Irish. So I've heard this nonsense before. Did you guys buy that telly just for that? Because you can't see this, but on the other side of the table, there's quite an expensive television that's got a monkey barrel logo on it, which is completely pointless because there's one on the wall as well.
It's for two things. It's for putting those videos on, and then whenever you wants to watch Formula One or rugby, it goes on that screen.
Are we going to watch Formula One and rugby while we're recording the podcast?
It might pop up in a minute.
It's been done before.
It has been done before. Yeah. Okay. Well, this laptop.
The Six Nations is finished now, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah, it has. Yeah.
They're just getting
Ireland one.
Yes.
Ireland one? Yeah. Great job, Ireland.
My dad was in a good mood for a whole week. But they didn't win the Grand Slam, which is where you win all of the games.
No.
Good. Right.
Who thwarted them? Was it England?
No.
Oh.
Who was it, Claire?
England.
It was
England.
Splendid.
I didn't care before. Now I'm deeply invested. How dare you?
I'm going to make some jokes about rivalry and whatnot, but we don't want to fall foul of all this legislation that people are talking about.
Yeah, for fuck's sake. I mean, comedians be like, we're going to get arrested. You're not going to get fucking arrested. That's not what it is. Okay, so
grass people up for being crap.
I would love a shite patter law where you just like
that's a hate crime.
That is
these people have paid for an evening's out, and you're coming down here and doing bad crowd work and talking about your mental health.
So, Ewan, you're gonna give us we've got some questions sent in by the community.
Oh God!
And we're gonna hear the first.
You've got like
one.
a mum's net thing on.
Oh yes.
Okay.
You're gonna have some deep questions.
Okay.
Here.
Yeah. So our first question is: how different is it gigging in America compared to you?
Well, the travel is. It takes a lot longer to get to the gig.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. It's
All
like a plane flight. I took a plane flight to get here. Actually, it's a nicer plane because when I went to America,
you get your meals.
Yeah. I went in business class.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, never experienced that.
I didn't come business class to Edinburgh because it doesn't exist. No one's coming up here on business. I believe there's business class flights south.
Is there?
Yeah, because people are going to business in London, but no one's doing business up here.
No, people are coming home or they're on the run.
Yeah.
So what kind of extras did you get in the plane with business class? Was just more leg room,
Better people.
Just you walking around going, belong.
Yeah. Just a higher grade of people. That's the whole idea. It's essentially you arrive at the same time.
Great.
You're nominally on the same flight.
Yeah. But it's really completely different experiences.
Yeah.
Those
So
people at the back are having a terrible
That was the main difference. And the other thing, a lot of Americans. Here you get some, but there it's predominantly Americans.
More Americans in America.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, you do. You get the odd one here and there.
Yeah. Very rare.
Yeah, and they don't have intervals.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, they don't have intervals. They get their drinks served during the show, which you now do at the Monkey Barrel. But because they're American rather than British, they order their drinks quietly.
Yeah.
So the whole sort of system, they don't have intervals.
But I feel like the staff here are quite good at like hunting
The staff
down,
here, hot staff here,
giving
very,
drinks.
very.
But I feel like when I've talked to American comics before, they've said like, oh, sometimes it can be a nightmare where like people are just walking around with trays and holding them high. And
I guess it's what you're used to, I suppose. But yeah, we have intervals, and they're set. They have like 500 people all doing 3 to 5 minutes.
Oh wow, that's a lot.
So I think their sets. I don't know. I'm going to be on a podcast talking with some studied ignorance about the American comedy scene, but it seems like a fair exchange.
I think it's
British
fine.
people have been on quite big American podcasts talking with ignorance about the British comedy scene.
This is the exchange that we make between them. It's all right, you don't know what you're talking about. We don't know what we're talking about. Let's make some crass generalizations. Let's do it.
Yeah. So no, I liked it. It was good. They've got lots of people doing short sets. I think that their sets are kind of 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then 40 plus.
Yeah.
They don't have this 20-minute thing that because everything over here is 20 minutes.
Because I know for a long time,
then you stop writing material, and then you just you circle the club scene like a sewage going down a drain. And then finally at the end you just go
done.
Well, yeah.
Well, I know for a long time in America, a big thing there was getting onto late night TV. So they would want just work on your 10.
It's
and you
their
just
Edinburgh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never thought about it that way, but yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And then I mean, it changed. I remember.
Seems like a better goal, doesn't it?
Yeah. You mean you do a performance that's saved forever and goes out online? People can see
and
it.
it's only 5 minutes. So you can work on at home that, whereas people here, they take the 5 minutes and they stretch it over an hour.
Yeah.
And then take it up.
Well, it's funny because I remember hearing so many stories, probably in the 70s and the 80s and the early 90s, which were about comedians doing a 10-minute set and then the next day being like, I got an agent and I got a sitcom pitch. And I believe that's how it worked for Jerry Seinfeld. Was the next day they were like, hey, is there anything you want to do? We'd love to do a show with you. And that started. It wasn't like...
Yeah, but people talk about those... I think people talk about those stories... There are stories like that, obviously, right? That probably wasn't representative in the 70s.
Yeah.
I think quite a lot of people, when they look at sort of fame and like fame as a goal, and then they go, but this happened to this person, which is like doing sort of investment and financial planning off that bloke who won the lottery and bought all those monster trucks. It's just like, no, that's an outlier on the graph. That's not a plan. It's like there's people who say, well, Daniel Kitson just does hours. And you go, yeah, but before that, he was the best club comedian. And he's going to kind of selectively miss things out.
Yeah, I think you're missing the part in the middle that let him go to that.
Yeah, I think Seinfeld did some grind.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
But it was so funny that was, I felt like that was a dialogue in America that people thought, oh, that's what you do. And then I remember it changed. And I remember... There was a comedian who did like Jay Leno or something. And this was like 2011.
Yeah.
And he was like, God, this is going to change my whole career. And he said all he got from it was 4 followers on Twitter. And that was it.
When I did US Late Night, it absolutely, the world changed, literally.
Yeah.
I did it and then you weren't allowed to go outside for like 2 years.
Was there any point where you were like, is this my fault?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I 100% think it was my fault. I'll say this on the internet. Why not? So I did that. I was in America in December of 2019.
Yeah.
And then in late January, early February of 2020, I went on a big tour of Southeast Asia. And I was traveling around Southeast Asia, and I was burning the candle at both ends. I was drinking quite a lot and smoking quite a lot. And
as comedians,
to do.
That's exactly the perfect note.
And I was quite ill at the time, but not keeping abreast of world events. And then I flew back to the UK, and I was so busy at the time, I didn't even have time to go home. So I picked up my car from Heathrow, and then I drove, I think I did the Leicester Comedy Festival, and then I did a week of shows in Liverpool, and then I went down to London, and I did a week at the Soho Theatre, and then I went down to Bristol, but like all over the UK, and I was so ill and weirdly out of breath, and I didn't know, why. And then a lockdown happened, and I was able to sort of have a look at everything and realise, the whole thing was probably a little bit my fault. I had been travelling around the UK with some sort of virus that I picked up from Southeast Asia in around early February of 2020. And I'm quite a big performer, so I sort of spit and yell. And then when I came back, I didn't sell as many tickets after the pandemic. And quite a lot of people who like my stuff are older.
Yeah.
So I managed to kill. I mean, I say, the pandemic slowed things down, but I did a lot of work to slaughter the vast majority of my fan base at the beginning of 2020.
Like
so now I'm sort of coming on this sort of thing, talking to young bucks like you, getting out on the internet, asking the questions from the Instas, just to try and get a fan base going again, so that when the next global pandemic comes along, I can wipe them out too.
Please tell me your show's called Patient Zero. That's the fucking way to go with this. Oh my God. Wow. Okay. Great answer. Did not know that question was going to bring us all the way to you caused the pandemic. I love it.
My fault.
Okay. All right. From that bombshell, can you give us question number 2?
I totally can. Okay. What is the most stupid belief a close friend or loved one has shared with you?
A stupid belief?
Yes.
I was raised Catholic. Does that answer that question?
Let's go. I'll accept that happily. Yes.
Because George was like that one.
I would love that one. What a great answer. There's so many silly things. Do you remember being a Catholic, going to mass, and that bit at the end where they bring out that weird stinky chalice? You remember that?
Yeah, thurible.
Yeah, I don't remember the name for it, but I just remember
sort of an Irishman, are you?
Yeah. I just remember being like, I'm not on board with any of this.
I used to be one of the lads in the outfits doing it.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
What is it in there?
Stupid belief. Actually, a close friend of mine in 2021 said that he thought that I'd caused the COVID pandemic. There are all sorts. There are all sorts of ones. My friend Sam believes there's no speed limit on the M6 toll.
Oh my God.
Because you have to pay. So he thinks that's what you're paying for.
Oh my God, you can go as fast as you want.
Yeah, no amount of speeding tickets or anything has disabused him of this in the last 20 years.
That's a great one.
No speeding tickets.
So in our discussions today, we figured out all of the deaths of the pandemic you're responsible for, and also we found out who's responsible for all of the road deaths in the last 10, 15 years.
He does that. He lost his driving license a couple of years ago, but not for that. He lost it by going 26 miles an hour on London Bridge 3 times in a day. He already had 3 points. He got 3, 6, 9, 12, wallet.
Wow.
26 miles an hour. And it was one of those things it was probably fair enough. They caught, it was like when they caught Al Capone for tax evasion.
He was like, fair enough.
Yeah.
You're going to catch me for something. If this is what it has to be, that's fine.
Yeah.
You would think with them being that close together, you'd be like, all right, let's just count this as one mistake.
Same friend, actually. He was the one calling me up going, you're a super spreader. I was like, leave it out, mate. I've got gigs to do.
I've got people to kill.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Question number 3.
Question number 3. If you could witness any event in history firsthand, what would it be?
And I'm going to say not 9/11.
Yes.
You've ruined it.
I've ruined it now, of course. I knew that's where we were going to go.
No, I did witness that first time. We discussed it through the window of a Dixon's.
Through a window of a Dixon's, yes. Is there a moment of history? Is there something you'd like to go back and see?
Moon landing.
That would be interesting. Would you be on the moon, or would you be
on the moon?
On the moon.
Yeah, I'd be on the moon.
I'd love to hang out with so there was like 3 people in there, and 2 of them went down, and then the third person was Michael Collins, was his name, and he just like went around to the dark side of the moon, and like for like.
And while he was there, he founded the IRA. Led quite a brutal war of attrition with the British overlords.
That's what you used to call
a very storied life. The big fella.
Big fella.
Yeah.
The big man, the big fella.
Big fella of no time to walk on the moonshine.
Wow, okay. Was not expecting that voice to come out of you right there. I was pulled back to Cork all of a sudden.
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Wow. Oh my God, my childhood. It was so close.
Yeah, so Michael Collins.
Uncle Garrett, is that you?
Yeah, I do impressions.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that was incredibly effective.
Yeah.
That one there.
Yeah.
So yeah, would you be like, what would you try to do the same thing as with 9/11? Would you try to watch it through a Dixon's window?
I'd watch it on telly, definitely.
Yeah.
I don't think Dixon's were around in 1969 or now.
No.
Dixon's was a very small window. The events you could witness through a Dixon's window would be the fall of Berlin Wall, much of the reporting of the BSE crisis, Tony Blair, 9/11, Iraq invasion, George Bush beating
Al Gore,
yeah. And then I think Dixon's probably financial crash,
yeah.
And then end of Dixon's.
The first 4 seasons of Big Brother, and then gone.
All of The Sopranos.
Yeah, that's why I like to judge my life in BD and AD, which is before Dixon's, after Dixon's.
Yeah.
I just ignore that period of time.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It's not BD and AD anymore. It's Dixon's era. It's before the Dixon's era and after the Dixon's era. I've got to get it right.
Got to get it right. I'd like to deeply apologise for that, everybody.
You should do.
In this, we've gone PC world mad.
Yeah. Oh,
you
God.
hated that joke.
I really did.
I
didn't engage. I'm just waiting for a pause for the next question.
Okay.
Moon landing. I'm actually doing a show about the moon landings this summer at the Monkey Barrel.
Oh, really?
It's called Garrett Millerick Needs More Space.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, it's loosely about
that's
moon landings.
perfect.
It's a point of interest for me.
Okay, so we have another question for you. Well, we have 3 more questions that have come from our previous guest, Eleanor Conway. So we're going to get them up on screen right now.
I know Eleanor. She asks me questions all the time.
Hey Garrett, it's Eleanor.
Hi, Eleanor.
I want to know, is there a stage death that you've experienced, either yourself or you've watched someone else do, that honestly makes you shudder or still makes you feel a bit icky? And can you tell us the story of that? You spend a lot of time in service stations, and I want to know what's the weirdest thing you've either seen, eaten, or had to do in a service station. Okay. I want to know, what's the biggest misconception about comedy or comedians that normal people wouldn't know?
All right.
Thank you, Eleanor. Thank you. Good questions.
Excellent. Why did we run those all in together? One at a time.
Well, we'll go back. Is there a stage death that you have experienced that you remember? I think was the first one.
Yeah. Not me, obviously. Obviously, it doesn't happen. I saw a death a couple of weeks ago that was extraordinary. I'd not seen a death like that in a while. Full on 20 minutes, no laughs, third of the audience walked out. And I don't think anyone could work out where the jokes were supposed to be. But the act was completely unfazed by it, which I found incredibly unnerving, like a serial killer.
Something should be happening. There should be some emotional reaction to this.
Even when it came off, they were just like, it's fine.
Oh my God. I remember like the early days of comedy when you start and you're doing open spots, like the open
in
spot
the 70s.
Scene. Yes.
Seinfeld was just there.
So he was there at me and he's like,
they walked in and they handed him all that stuff.
He's like, I've got 5 minutes. And then they were like, amazing. There's a TV show for you. But I remember you would just see like the craziest people that would just be there very briefly, like open spots. And I remember there's one person who, he just used to come out and he would take out like a doll out of his jacket and he would say like, oh, look at you, Rapunzel, let down your long hair. And then the hair would fall down out of the doll. And then he would always just do these weird props and like...
There's a guy who had a candle. He just came out with a candle and then lit it and held it there like he was doing some sort of Shakespearean thing. And then he said to me afterwards, he was like, I just got the idea right before I went on stage. And I was like,
we saw a candle there.
Yeah, you saw a candle on the table of the pub. There's just sort of no
Well,
point.
this guy with the Rapunzel thing did all that, and then one of his last gigs that I saw him, he then reached into his jacket and took out, near the end, he goes, I'm nearly finished, reached in and took out a gun.
Yeah.
And it was like a spray, it was one of those blue ones that he clearly spray painted black. And you could see the audience went, like people's hands on the table were like, are we going to get shot now?
See, and that would have been a different gig in America.
Yeah,
to answer your earlier question.
So he did that and then started like firing it in the air, and it was a little pop cap gun, but none of them worked. And he's like, oh,
there are definitely people.
Ruined it.
There are definitely people you see on the circuit, not the circuit, but sometimes the circuit, but where you're like, I am relatively fearful that you're going to come back here and take us all with you on your journey to meet your maker at some stage. Because it can be quite the repository for the mentally ill.
I mean, sometimes just people who are just
mentally ill.
Well, also going through things and are just like, this is how I'm going to make the big change in my life. I'm going to do stand up for a while.
I once did a car ride. I don't know if it was a death, but it was. But we went to do this gig in Manchester, and there were 4 people there, and there was somebody in the car who was going through some very personal things at the time, and was telling us all, which is fine, but objectively I met the person 10 minutes ago, so I didn't care, like medically didn't care, because I don't know them.
I think we could check your pulse and we could tell you don't care.
It's of no interest to me. We're not friends. This is too much to share with
strangers. Just sat into a crowd.
And to a level of detail and emotion that was inappropriate, but they weren't English. So we were in this car, and Manchester is very far away from where we were, which is in London, and we were going up, and a lot of this, and I sort of was like, oh, the PM program is on Radio 4, would you mind if I put it on? And this person said, no, that's fine. And so I put it on, and then they just yelled over the program, and there just wasn't any escaping this. And they weren't the only one. Everybody in the car was behaving in various grades of awful. And I was driving, because that's when you're new, you have to do that. You have to drive people to awful places. And we did the gig, and it was awful. And on the way back, they were over-analysing how awful it had been and why. And I sort of said, hey, look, it doesn't matter. It was an awful gig. Yeah. We've talked about it now for 2 hours. We should talk about something else. And they wouldn't. And no amount of sort of gentle suggestion or whatever that we should talk about something else, movies, music, whatever, was being taken. And I got to a point where I just thought, if I smash my face into the middle of the steering wheel, will these people shut up? Because I'd used every polite English thing in my arsenal to ask them to stop, and they wouldn't stop, and I didn't really know anything. So in the end, I didn't want to, because one of these people was going through a difficult personal time, which I now knew about, even though I didn't want to. Yeah. And I thought, I can't. I'm seconds away from turning around and going, "Will you shut up?" Which would have been bad, and then I would have ended up as the bad person in that story. So what I did, it was 3:00 in the morning. I pulled over into a service station. I'm sort of linking question 1 and 2 together on the fly, if you don't mind. Yes. I pulled into a service station at 3:00 in the morning, and I locked myself in a disabled loo and punched myself in the leg for a couple of minutes, and then I was able to do the rest of the journey.
This is the most revealing one of these episodes we've done. I would have suggested that you get back, when you get back into the car, you just go full Irish accent, and just, if they said, lads, would you ever shut the fuck up about that? Because it seems charming.
Ah, Jesus, lads, I'm not surprised you haven't left, I'll fucking stick around with a lot of you like that.
Perfect. See, everyone's been delighted by that.
Yeah, but I'm not that person. So I had to go, that's terribly sad. He does sound like an awful man. Would you mind if we just pulled over to Lay Dillon? You give me 10 minutes.
You get back in the car and they're like, is your leg bleeding?
Yeah.
No.
I'll feel my ankles.
We can jump into question number 3, which is, what's the biggest misconception about comedians that normal people wouldn't know?
We'll tie all the questions together, but it's fun.
Amazing. The perfect answer. Okay. Well, we've found out so much about you. We found out about we've linked everything very well together. We talked about the moon landings. We talked about where you would go in time and your many adventures in service stations. Thank you for not punching those geese. I appreciate that. That could have been like a trigger moment for.
We can see what normally happens in service stations. How cock a hoop I was that they were geese.
Oh yeah, delighted. I bet.
Yeah.
Well,
I want to know where they were going.
Going to have a great time, undoubtedly.
They were travelling in the direction of the drive-through Starbucks. Well, those are questions from... You've asked me questions from the internet.
Yes.
And Eleanor.
That's true, yeah.
But none from you, George. Why have you nothing to say to me? I've known you now, 5 years? They said, would you like to come on the Monkey Barrel podcast and have a chat with George? And I said, yes. And then I got an email saying that George is just going to be some sort of conduit.
I'm just a conduit through which all these questions come. I can't engage. I shouldn't even be giving opinions on things. I'm just supposed to just go straight through the questions.
Civil service of the Monkey Barrel podcast.
Well, look, there's so many podcasts out there where, people ask the same questions about comedy, this and that. We just
I wanted to come on here and talk, and we've done a little bit, but I wanted to talk endlessly about comedy and process.
Yeah. And there's a million podcasts like that.
Yeah, I've been on a few of them. There are all sorts of different podcasts. It's very difficult to categorize this one. There's those I like food podcasts.
Yeah.
I hate my kids podcasts. I get sad sometimes podcasts. Those are kind of because I've like genres. Like comedy is important. Let's talk about it ad nauseum. Podcast. I know fuck all about the news. Let's get into it. There are those
podcasts as well.
Yeah.
Whereas this one is just like random questions, and I feel like there's so much information we found out about you tonight. Not by trying to dig deep for it, but just by nature of going through these other questions.
No,
I don't think you would have told me that you caused the pandemic if I'd asked you that question.
I would have done if you'd asked nicely enough. No, I don't. No, I'm very much I'm a very surface level bloke.
Yeah.
You can look at me, when people talk about, they get angry about people making assumptions about them. I think that's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. You can have a look at me. I'm wearing a corduroy blazer. I have a greying beard and a certain demeanour. Yeah. I probably think most of the things you think I think, and like a lot of the stuff that you think I'd like. No one's going to invite me to a rap concert. But, the
fact that you've called it a rap concert.
Exactly. But they're like, we've got a spare ticket to a Fleetwood Mac tribute. Oh. I'm there. Yes. That sort of thing.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. But I still think I've been surprised by some of the answers here.
Have you? Which one particularly?
I think the moon landing.
I'm interested in the moon landing.
I wouldn't have expected that.
Somebody said about me, and they found out I had a Lego rocket on my desk, which I do.
The little Lego lander.
No. It's a Saturn V. Saturn V.
I want
that. The amount of episodes we do where someone will mention like a niche interest of theirs, and you'll be like, I love that too. What is going on? What an encyclopedia!
Full of surprises.
You're full of surprises.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay. I could look at him and tell he wanted a Saturn V rocket. It's a good guy. Wouldn't get you a Saturn V rocket. Look at the state of your shirt.
Oh no, a Saturn V rocket. I don't know. Space.
It's a rocket that they used to get to the moon.
Oh, good. Good.
So I've got a Lego one of those on my desk, and I did at Edinburgh a couple of years ago. In 2019, I built a scale model of Apollo 11's command module during the festival to avoid talking to people about comedy.
It's a really good idea.
People are like, how's it going? I'm like, yeah, pretty good. I've just finished off the oxygen tanks and the service module. Oh, you were talking about this? Nah, fuck off. I don't want to talk about that.
Good. Well, you're back this year doing a show, so please plug things you've got coming up.
I've always been here.
You've always been. you can see him as well, right? And I'm not talking to a ghost right now. Yes. So anything you want to plug? Let people at home know about it. Things that are coming up.
Well, I'm very good on Instagram, as we've discussed. So when you follow me on Instagram, I got a special coming out that was filmed at the Monkey Barrel, and I've got some other stuff happening. I'm doing this show this summer called Garrett Millerick Needs More Space. It's going to be at the Monkey Barrel in the middle of the afternoon, between 3 and 4, I think. And that's going to be good. And then that's going on tour. So if you don't live in Edinburgh and don't want to come to the Fringe, it'll be coming somewhere. And then if you don't want to leave the house, we're going to film it. So if you can wait 2 years, probably 18 months, you can watch it.
Just to confirm, people who go to the show will be safe. There's no diseases with this tour. You're not going to cough on people.
Don't speak for me.
Okay, take your risks, everybody. All right. Well, one amazing.
This one's going to infect everyone with anthrax. It's going to be like that cult in America. You come see the show, and then we're all going to go to the moon.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Garrett, for coming in. If you enjoyed today's episode, please do follow Garrett online on Instagram. See all the posts, self-aggrandizing yourself. It'll be a lot of fun. And please
don't feel obliged to do that.
Please, if you like this episode, leave a review, share it, help us grow the show. From myself, from Garrett, from Ewan. Thanks for checking out the show. I will. From Garrett, a big, lovely thank you. And can I just say, Garrett, big hugger when you go to the show. Thanks for watching, everyone. That's this week's episode of Monkey Barrel Comedy Chat Show. We're done. Get out of here.
There's something hiding under the ice, imitation of a sound. There's something standing behind the door. Would you like